guys, it is Fudge here, bringing you some Rainbow Six Siege pros and noob tactics. And before I show you this video, I'm gonna tell you guys a story about my internet. Yeah, this video would have been uploaded a week earlier if my internet didn't cut out for a whole entire day. But this wouldn't have been so bad, because I already recorded the footage. It was all there, it was all ready to edit, and I was like, oh well, this isn't so bad. I got something to do while my internet's down. But this is the shitty turn of events that happens. Alright, the first thing that happened was I was playing the game and then the internet just dropped. I was playing with my friends, the internet dropped. I'm like, well shit, I'm gonna have to restart my modem now. So I restarted my modem and then I came back to it and the internet still wasn't working. I'm like, well, this is weird. Australian internet isn't usually that bad. So I keep restarting it over and over again. It never worked. And then by the end of it, I'm like, well, I'm fucked. So that's the title that I came up with. And I could not get in contact with my friends. The internet was like on some bar being totally shit. So I was just like kind of chilling there like, okay, what the fuck do I do? Then I realized I already recorded the Rainbow Six Siege footage, but in the game I was playing was unturned. I was recording that and I was exporting some footage already out of my recorder, if you know what that means. But the recorder was glitched out at the end of the export. It exported the video, but at the same time the recorder crashed, and then I had to restart my computer because it wouldn't do anything else. I restarted my computer, and the recorder completely fucked up by me trying to open it, and then it told me to uninstall the program and reinstall it if I want to do it again. So that was great, except all my footage was on that recorder, so when I uninstalled it, which I just didn't realize at the time, I lost everything. So what you're about to see is gameplay nicked off other people's channels, so shout out for everyone who uploaded a Rainbow Six Siege video, because it's probably your content in my video. But this is all this footage from other channels that I had to get for gameplay, because all my footage went to hell. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and my recorder's still not working, but hope you guys enjoy. Alright, before I prolong this thing again, all I'm going to say is that I'm only going to be explaining the noob controls in PC, because in the controller, I really don't think it's necessary for me to go into that. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you've played an Xbox or PlayStation before, or anything before involving control, you pick it up like picking up sticks. It's really easy. It's just straight there, you pick up a stick, boom, you're done. You can fire a gun. Okay, no, please don't take that literally. But, moving on. This is the first thing I'm going to talk about. It's practically the moving keys, the WASD. That is pretty much the basics, the ABC of the internet. It's just you move around with WASD and you use your mouse to look around. That's all it is. I'm not going into that. That's to watch another video if you want me to go into that. But number two is the prone and crouch, because I've had a number amount of people just standing up behind a barricade and saying sup to the enemy and getting shot in the head. So they've all been asking, like, how do I go prone, how do I go crouch? So I'm like, did you look at the menu? But, okay, this is why I'm making this video. So, okay, how do you go crouch is you press C, and you press C to go crouch, and you press it again to go back up. But if you want to go prone, you have to press C, and while you've pressed C already, and you guys in crouch mode, press Control, and he'll go down even further into prone mode. That's what we call going down on someone. But hey, now that's good. It's really good in tactical situations because you can kind of see under a doorway. I'm going into a pro tip here. If you're going crouch and you're a defender, look under the doorway. So when someone's trying to plan a breach charge, you can shoot at them first, so they don't get the breach charge planted and they die before they can play it. Alright, before I move on, you can also use C to change your stance on rappelling. Well, once you can rappel down, you can climb walls, you can like look straight up, or you can be upside down and look from the top of a window, which is really key if you want to catch them by surprise, because they'll always be looking at the bottom of the windowsill to shoot you in the chest or in the head. But if you're coming in from the top, it really freaks people out to see someone be like, hey, how's it going? But yeah, it really freaks me out when I see someone doing that, so I'm pretty sure it's a pretty effective tool. Anyway, moving on to the next one, which is going to be sprinting. If you want to sprint, you just need to practically hold in shift as you're moving forward. Just hold shift as you're moving forward and you'll sprint. And it's really key, but it can give away your position if you're going through a quiet hallway. If you're sprinting, everyone's going to be like, whoa, someone's over there, shoot him So do it at your will, but probably do it outside than I would do it inside. Anyway, Alright, moving on now, I'm going to move on to the lean keys. These are keys for more advanced games where you can kind of peek around the wall by leaning and not showing your entire body, but does leave your head exposed, so use it at will. But the lean keys are Q and E, and Q's to lean left and E's to lean right. You can change all these keys by going to the control menu if you really feel like it, but I seem to like how it's already set up myself. But anyway, moving on. The Q and E key is really crucial part of playing, because if you know how to play and you know all the technical parts, you can kind of press Q to kind of look around the wall and take out 3 people, then quickly pop back before they even notice you're there. It's really key, and if you're really good at the game, it's a really good tactic to use. Alright guys, moving more on to the offensive stuff that you do here is like aiming and firing and reloading. So aiming is practically the right trigger on your mouse to aim, and left trigger mouse is to fire. Pretty simple. If you've ever played a computer game before, like I've said so many times before, that you probably know what this is. And also R is to reload. Yeah, I wonder why they put R that way. Yeah, I freaking know. But anyway, moving on to the more technical parts. Alright guys, this is where a lot of people get lost. So be prepared to start understanding. Because a lot of people get lost when people get like V, which is a bit away from the moving keys. That is to melee. You can change it up, just go ahead, change it up, but this is the default keys I'm explaining. So V is to melee. You can either, if you're hitting a barricade, then you're probably gonna hit with the back of your gun. And if you see someone, you're probably gonna use a knife to melee. It automatically changes. That doesn't really need to be any of something like that. But also, another thing is the primary gadgets. Rainbow Six Siege has people like operators in it. You can buy operators, you can do different stuff with them. Each one has their own separate ability to do their own different stuff. Say Fuse, for instance. Fuse has a cluster charge who he can place on a barricade and blow tons of grenades into the room without breaking the barricade, which is really key in being an attacker. It's my favorite guy I play as. But how you activate these abilities is by pushing in the scroll button on your mouse. And that practically activates your main gadget or ability. And all second gadgets are activated by G. So those are usually breach charges and grenades that are activated by G. So usually these are very key parts in defending or deploying this stuff. Yeah. Alright guys, I'm moving more on to the observation sort of things on how to get your tactical advantage on people by seeing them on what they're doing. So I'll move on to the first thing is the observation tool. The observation tool can be anything from a camera to a little spy camera hidden somewhere in the room. And the observation tool practically is activated by pressing Y or 5. Jesus Christ, 5, and you press 5, and you'll see through the camera feeds of the cameras placed around the room. Mind you, if you're an attacker and you see these things, best opinion to shoot them, so people won't get the eye and see where you're coming from, because you can press 5 and see all the enemies and what they're doing before they actually come into your room, and you know you have the tactical advantage. At the start of every game, if you're an attacker, you'll realize that you are placed as a drone. You can drive around by using the move keys and spaces to jump. If you want to get the tactical advantage, you have to find the enemies and find the bomb and see exactly what they're doing in detail. Say, if they place a shield in the back right-hand corner of a room, you gotta know to watch out for that guy, because you can't just run in there, because he's gonna be fully covered and pop up at any time and take you out. So, you gotta get advantages like that, and it's really key on how you play the game. Alright, moving on to the more changing of the weapons. It's kind of to preference of what you want to do. You can either scroll, or you can press 1 or 2 to switch between your primary and your secondary. Primary is 1, secondary is 2. It's all really preference with this, because if you want to change using the scroll button, it doesn't really take much of a movement from your mouse, which you already got your hand on to use the scroll. But it's a lot quicker by pressing 1 or 2, because you can easily stuff up by scrolling too far, and you change to your secondary again once you're already in it. But hey, it's all to preference. It's all what you want to do. But also, you can look. Another key part is looking at your scoreboard, because if you look at your scoreboard, you use tab to do that. It's like CS:GO in a way by using that. You press tab, see the scoreboard, see everybody's names, see how high people are going up, and see who's the pro players and who should take out first if you have the option. But this is kind of bad with all games. You can, like, if you look at the menu, you're gonna be vulnerable. So do it in key times. Don't do it when you're like midway through a gunfight and it's like, oh look, Mr. Bumfluff is top of the leaderboard. Oh, I just got killed. No, don't do that, please. It annoys the fuck out of everybody. Okay, moving more into the social part of this game. Yeah, you need to talk to your friends or teammates, so say, teammates, to technically get a better advantage on your enemy. Because if you're very unsocial people and nobody's talking and the whole enemy team is talking and being cooperative, then you're probably going to lose the match by sheer not understanding what's happening where. But there is a point where it can get fairly annoying. Like, you get the casual jackass swearing his head off and saying everybody's a McDonald's worker when you're actually a really good person at playing the game and you're a nice person. So if you don't have to put up with these people, there's a button in this game so you don't have to. You press 7 and you can vote to kick them if you want to, and if other people vote as well, he's out of the game. So you don't have to deal with him. It's just how it is, and nobody likes a dick in their game. Anyway, moving on to open chat to all. You press T to open chat to all. If you want to talk to the enemy team and your team, you can press T. You probably only be oh my god, my English. You probably only be able to talk to your teammates midway through a game, but outside of the game, you can talk to them by bragging like, how do you like that kill? So that was pretty good. No, but anyway. Also, you can change it back by pressing V, and you can only talk to your teammates, and you don't need to hear what they're saying, because it's pretty much irrelevant what they're saying at all anyway. So, also, you push U to talk. So, some people, if you have the setting on where you just talk by only pressing a button, you have to push U to talk. I have mine on always open. It makes it a lot easier when you're playing the game, so you can't just have to reach over to the U button with your fingers, like, and try and reach over to the U button to say, hey guys, there's a guy over there. By that time, everyone will be dead. But, so, instead of having to do that, I leave mine always on. It kind of makes it a lot easier. It gets a bit embarrassing when your mum goes, you know what I mean? But, also, another key thing going down the list is ping. Press Z for your ping, and if you have a ping over 1,000, which I do sometimes, you should probably leave the game because you're being a nuisance to your friends. Because they're going to be looking at you and you're going to be like jumping through the windows and shit, and it's not even broken down. You're going to be like flying through bullets like some Matrix, and everyone's going to be like, oh god, look at that guy, he's lagging like a mofo. Anyway, also, another useful thing that you should probably know is switch firing. So, instead of having a gun having a massive amount of kick by doing full auto, just shooting a straight line up the wall because it's got that much kick, you can change it to semi-auto, so you can just like fire one shot at a time, so get those keen headshots in and all buttons like that. But if you're going into a large room, I'd probably keep it on full auto because you do a lot more damage that way. Also, when you're playing as a drone, when you're riding through the buildings, sorry, this is a flashback to way earlier, when you're playing as a drone driving through buildings, hold X to scan the area on enemies, and you can locate crates and stuff. Even though you're midway through a game, you can still pull out a drone and throw it so it'll go under a door and scan where everybody is, and they can still shoot that drone and destroy it, so you know never anymore. So this is concluding all the controls, and I'll be moving on to my pro tip now. So if you're a noob, you should be up to date with how to play the game. So moving on to the pro tip so you can get a little bit better and have the advantage on the enemy. Alright, the first pro tip that I'm kicking it off as is what I like to call the sneaky peek. The sneaky peek is where you kind of lay down prone, not reasonably close to the door, but a distance away, and you can look underneath the door. This is usually played as by a defender, and you can look underneath the door, and if sometimes you can see some shadows or some footsteps, and if those footsteps are still in the center of the door, then you know they're placing a breach charge, and you can shoot through the door and stop them before they do that. It's really cool, and it's a really keen way of getting rid of someone, and also, even if they burst in from another window, you're prone on the ground, which makes you harder to see and harder to shoot. So it's really cool. But I'm moving on to my next strategy right now, is what I like to call break and pop, or breach and pop, like what you want to call it. But practically, if you're grappling from up to a top window or down on the bottom ones, it's practically where you either have a teammate with you, or you can do it all by yourself, is where you break a hole into the barricade, so there's a little hole in there, and then if you have a nade in your hand, you throw it through that gap, then you quickly run away and relocate to another area. So practically what you're doing is what a fuse guy can do, But if you know a fuse, it's practically like an easier way of doing it, and you probably get a bit more damage out of it since you're throwing in a nade. So it's really keen, because if you run around and get on the other side, they're all going to be looking at that door, and then you come into another window, you can have the element of surprise. It's really keen, and it's a really good way of thinking about it. Alright, so the next tactic I got for you is this tactic called the peekaboo. And the tactic called the peekaboo is practically you shoot a hole in a breachable wall. That's practically what you know the enemies are going to come by. So you shoot a hole in this breachable wall, and you just constantly aim down that wall, and you wait for movement to go past it. And since it's a small enough hole, they will probably not notice it or walk right by it. And this is really good for the defenders. It's like an extra defense. You can have a hole in the wall, you can have kind of an eagle eye in the vision, and you can just like pick off the enemies without them knowing where the shots came from. But it's also, think of it, this will work two ways. If you're not keen or listening into what the enemies are doing, then they can probably place another hole on you, and they can do the exact same to you. So use this tactic wisely, but don't overuse, because they'll probably do the same to you. Now this is a tactic that probably everybody will know. Most pro society will know this. Not even majority of moderate society will know this. Is called the flank. Everybody knows what a flank is. Practically, when you're getting attacked on a front by all the enemies, if one of your people can just flank off, like split off and go around and like come around from the back, because they won't be expecting it, you can get like 3 or 4 kills and like take down almost the entire team that way. It's a really key strategy, but note you'll be by yourself if you try to pull this off, and it's a really easy way to get picked off if you're unexperienced in doing it. Also, if you try to do the flank, many people will try to do this, but most people only get halfway, because people will notice they'll spin around rather quickly and they'll take you out before you can even take enemies out. So you gotta plan this and you gotta use it wisely, because people are prepared against this sort of thing. So alright guys, that's all the pro tips I have for you for now. The rest really contain the operator's special abilities, and I don't really want to spoil the game completely if you're a noob and you decide to watch this all the way through. If you're a pro, well, you probably already know how to use the operator's abilities efficiently, and you just watched this video for some laughs. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Don't be afraid to subscribe, because I know many people are. And peace. Every appliance in that room is like calculators. D for bullshit. Okay. Plant it down.